And hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast by Biomimicry Innovation Lab. And this is where we speak to the latest food and agricultural innovators from across the UK and around the world. My name is Richard James McCowan, and with me I've got Yuning. Say hello, Yuning.
Hi, everyone. I'm a designer and researcher at Biomimicry Innovation Lab.
And today we are interviewing Rodrigo Garcia Gonzalez, who's the co-founder and co-CEO of Notpla. Say hello, Rodrigo.
Hello, Richard. Hello, Yunin.
So Notpla is a sustainable packaging startup that was set up in 2014. And they've got a mix of designers, chemists, engineers, and entrepreneurs. And what they're doing is they're looking at creating novel packaging solutions from seaweed and other biomaterials to alleviate the use of single-use plastics. They've won awards from and grants from Innovate UK, the Ellen Macarthur Foundation, and that's focusing on their first product called Ooho, or however you want to pronounce it. When you see it, you get a bit excited. And this is an edible and fully biodegradable sachet. They're now working on other novel solutions. Now, Rodrigo and Pierre, the co-founders, started their experience at Skipping Rock Labs, which they actually started up from the course called Innovation Design Engineering, which Yuning actually graduated from as well, which is a joint venture between Imperial College London and the Royal College of Art. And the team are now Notpla been crowdfunding and developing the business. They're actually now developing manufacturing hubs, and they're based in the East End of London. They've been invested in by Sky Ocean Ventures, and they've got experience in linking up to a number of companies from around the world. So the purpose of this podcast is not to just talk about project. We're going to start off with 73 rapid fire questions. So I hope you're ready, Rodrigo.
Well, I don't know if I'm ready, but let's go for it.
Oh, here we go. And if you can't get my accent, well, I will repeat it. But yeah, just it's a bit of fun. So number one, what's the best thing that happened to you this month?
I think maybe coming to Lisbon. I just came yesterday. So that was a highlight of this month.
I hope the weather's better than it is in the UK.
It's a bit better.
Okay, and what's your favorite board game?
Oh, I like a lot of board games. Agricola, I don't know if many people know that game, but like it's a pretty good board game.
Oh, people
but
should
if not,
know.
Ticket to Ride or Catan are pretty good as well.
When are you most inspired?
I suppose when I'm away from my day-to-day context. So when I have new inputs, I think it's when not only me, but like most of the people are inspired the most.
Yeah, it's a really interesting podcast I was listening to, and I'll share it in the links afterwards about that, and I'll share it with you, Rodrigo, as well. Okay, here's a tough one, because I know you teach as well. If you could teach one subject in school, what would it be?
Actually, I had the chance to teach in a school, and I was teaching a quite unusual subject in a school. It was architecture. So, and that was quite fun, and design. So I think I will stick with that. Yeah,
me too. Right. What's your favorite drink?
I think anything related with juices. I love fruits and juices.
Nice. What is the best compliment you've ever received?
I don't know. My mom say like main aspiration is to become a good person. So anything that relates with that, I think it's the best compliment that you can ever receive.
Oh, that's rather sweet. Yuning's nodding her head there as well.
Yeah.
And it's a tough one. What's your favorite birthday cake?
I'm not too into sweets, but I will say a homemade cake that shows the love for someone. I think is the best one. It could be really simple, but I think I will stick with that.
You've kind of tied to this, but what's the one thing you still have from your childhood?
I have a lot of memories, I suppose, of my childhood. I'm quite glad that my parents kept the house where I grew up. So I have a lot of memories in that place. And still, when I come back, it's almost coming back to my childhood with my brother and my sister playing games that we were playing when we were teenagers. So that's pretty good.
That's great. You still get your own bedroom there?
Yeah. I still have my bedroom there with full things. And normally when I travel to my parents' house, I don't pack anything. So I just dress up for the time that I'm there with the same clothes as I was when I was 15 years old. So all the t-shirts with big logos and things like that is quite interesting.
I think I've got one t-shirt left when I was a child. What is your favorite movie?
I like for a while quite a lot Achero Mañas, is a Spanish director, and he has one movie specifically called Noviembre. It's about a theater group. So it's a good movie.
Nice. What is something you cannot do?
Oh, I'm quite bad at languages. So I have tried I have been speaking English for a while, but like quite poorly. And I try a lot of other languages like French, Italian, and I have never succeeded.
Well, you can speak 2 languages, which is more than I can, at least.
Well,
okay. When you're going to flight, window or aisle seat?
A window.
Why? Is it because you like?
It's great to be able to look where you are going, and it's quite inspiring as well. Coming back to inspiration, to see all these clouds and this perspective of the earth and what's happening, and I think it's always really therapeutic to have the window on a flight.
Unless it's a long haul flight and you have to climb over people.
Yeah, exactly.
What makes you laugh no matter what?
I have quite good friends from theater, and they are always laughing. So it's impossible not to be close to them and not be laughing. So it's a good person who laughs. It's quite contagious. So I will say it's not a what, but when I'm close to some friends like Javier Pastor, or like some friends who are always laughing are always contagious.
I got friends like that as well. We're at like 12-year-olds, even though we're all in our adulthood now.
Yeah, and it's quite therapeutic as well. It's like having a window to happiness.
Yes. So leading on to that, what does creativity mean to you?
I suppose it's the ability to rethink how the world is made in different ways, or to be able to express yourselves in a unique, maybe even not unique way, but expression basically.
A nice answer. What are your favorite song lyrics of all time?
I will say, it's hard to say lyrics. There's quite a lot of Spanish lyrics, but might not be recognizable by the audience. So I will say, Let It Be by the Beatles.
It's an easy one.
Yeah, easy one. I don't know.
Yeah. What's your favorite holiday? Apart from going to Lisbon, obviously, to see your family.
I had really good time in India, for example. Yeah, it's a place full of stimulus and inputs in terms of smells, movement, colors, life in general, and I really enjoy it. I don't know if it's a place to rest, but like a place to get inputs, definitely.
There's actually there was an article in The Guardian about that, and there's actually people getting this India psychosis where they're completely forgetting, where they're overly absorbed in the place and actually not traveling home, being taken to hospitals with mental health problems because they're having a breakdown because they've been overstimulated by the culture and the colors and the sounds.
Yeah.
A lot of people there. Okay, what music is heavily played on your playlist right now?
So I have been, for the last week, as I knew I was coming to Lisbon, I was listening to fados non-stop. That is the Portuguese music, traditional music.
The chap I like who sings Portuguese is Katia. Is it Catiano Veloso?
Catiano Veloso.
Yeah, I like his guitar.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
I have no idea what he's saying, but it's quite nice. Okay, if you could raid one design studio, whose would it be? Famous, friends, anyone?
No, I have quite a lot of studios. Actually, I have a little page where I have I put it's called like when I grow up I want to be like ... and every time I find a studio or a designer that I really like, I save it there, and then I have a few from historical ones like Max Bill or Buckminster Fuller to really recent ones. I don't know, like Max Lamb I really enjoy, or Dave Hankers from Precious Plastic. I met him as well. It's quite inspirational. So I will say one of them.
Cool. Okay, what is your must-have design item?
Must-have design item? I carry with me quite a lot, some of the vessels that my grandparents were using to drink wine or water. So are traditional vessels made from leather or ceramics called botijo and bota. And I really enjoy to have this little collection. A bit more contemporary, I bought a lamp from Konstantin Girik that when I was an intern in Barcelona, I had a really dark room and I invested, but it was quite cheap, the room, but I invested a bit in this lamp and I have been keeping it since then in all the countries that I have been traveling to live for a while. So that had been a bit the design element or product that I have been carrying around.
Mine sounds boring then, because I just have a black pen. I like using these pens, so I buy them in bulk. Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Back to your childhood. What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were 12? So what do you think you wanted to be?
Yeah, I think I always liked this idea of the inventor. It's not a clear career route, I suppose, but I think it relates a bit with what I'm doing at the moment, which is quite gratifying to find out. And yeah.
Good. Right, last question from me, and then we'll pass to Yuning. What is something you will not be doing in 10 years?
Something that I won't be doing in 10 years. Not sure. Hopefully, we could have been solving a bit this problem that we're facing now of single-use packaging to a certain extent. So hopefully we can move to the next problem that society has. So let's see if we can be in a space in 10 years' time where we have already contributed a bit towards this issue. So hopefully we don't have it.
See, my answer to that is my accounts. I would get somebody else to do them.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm going to have a break, and I'm going to pass you over to the 21st question, over to Yuning.
Perfect.
It's my turn now. What is an important life lesson for someone to learn?
Important life lessons, I suppose, to take mistakes as learnings and to approach them with positive attitude and to embrace them. So I suppose that's an important lesson for everyone to learn. And it's not an easy one.
Yeah, totally. You already need to really experience that to really know. Yeah. How will you start your day?
So I try to have some habits in order to start my day. Sometimes I start with a bit of exercise. Sometimes I start with reading. Sometimes I start with planning a bit the day. So it really depends, because I'm not the most consistent person either. But yeah, and sometimes a hot drink, it always helps to start the day.
A drink in the morning.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Will you ever live anywhere else in the world?
Yes, absolutely. I'm really open to live anywhere else. I had the chance to live in Chile, in South America, in the north of Sweden, in India for a bit, in Spain for a bit, in the UK. So I'm quite open to see where destiny take us.
I would love to live in Amazon.
Ooh, Amazon Park. That would be lovely.
Yeah.
Like mosquitoes.
What is your favorite dessert? Dessert.
As I was saying before, I really love fruits. So anything that is fruit related, especially my grandma, who's still alive, he prepares some type of salad fruits that they are delicious. So anything on that front, I really love.
My favorite is strawberry tart.
Nice.
Is there a dessert that you don't like?
Yeah, everything that is really, really sweet, I'm not into that.
What will you eat for brunch?
I will try to go for the veggie option. In UK, sometimes it's not the easiest or the tastiest, but is normally what I try to have.
Okay. Where was the best holiday you've ever taken? You kind of mentioned.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned, but just to say something else, I was in South Africa just before COVID, and it was really lovely. Really enjoyed it. Or I spent some time as well in Senegal. It's a country that not too many people probably know in terms of holidays destination, but it's really vibrant as well.
Well, I really want to ask, where did you guys go for Go Global?
We went to Go Global to Australia. So we went to Sydney. Go Global is this project that, as part of this program that we study in London, they do where they bring you out of your comfort zone and you spend, I think it's almost a month somewhere else. And in my case, it was many years ago, almost 10 years ago, we went to work with a Paralympic team in Australia. It was a bit related with the Olympics, and it was quite lovely. And then with some friends, we took a bit of a trip as well to New Zealand afterwards. That was really, really nice as well.
We went to Kenya.
Ooh.
And then we go to like safaris and stuff, seeing a lot of animals.
Nice.
Yeah. What's your favorite Disney animal?
I really like Baloo from the Jungle Book. Búscalo más, vitalo más, lo que has necesitarlo más. Mamá naturaleza te lo da. That's it.
That's now recorded for everybody to hear for all eternity. But, yes, yeah.
What is the book that you're planning to read?
The book that I'm planning to read, I have at the moment, I started recently fencing. So I'm reading everything that I can find about fencing. And one of the books that I have is from Arturo Pérez Reverte, one Spanish author, and it's called The Fencing Master. So it's a novel based on Madrid in the 18th century, I think. Fiction.
Fiction. We all love fiction. What did you read most recently?
What I read most recently, I read a book called Atomic Habits, nonfiction.
Nonfiction. What's your favorite solo artist?
My favorite solo artist, Bruce Springsteen, I would say.
What is something that you're tired of?
I'm tired of COVID. Yeah, I think everyone is tired of COVID. Hopefully it goes away.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned this as well. What's the city that you wish to visit?
I'm really looking forward. I've never been to Mexico, so Mexico DF. I think I'm really up for it.
Yeah, I heard it's a really colorful city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the next question: chinos or jeans?
I always wear chinos. I only have one type of trouser. That is a chinos blue. I have 5 pair of them, and I just use the same trouser all the time.
That's a very engineering answer.
There's nothing wrong with that. I do that now. I've got I just wear mostly blue jumpers. I've got 5 blue jumpers. I've got 3 white shirts. Yes.
Yeah.
We're getting laughed at now by uni because we don't have our...
Yeah. Similar.
Where does one go on a perfect road trip?
Perfect road trip. I have been always doing road trips in the south of Spain, around the coast with my friends, and it's my perfect road trip. I don't know if it's the perfect for everyone, but will really recommend it.
That's really nice. What will you do on a rainy day?
Well, try to, as much as you can, embrace the rain. I think it's something beautiful. And instead of trying to avoid it, try to enjoy it as much as you can.
Sure, you can do that a lot in UK.
Yeah. Having said that, in UK, it's quite a specific type of rain as well. It's not comparison, for example, where I grew up in Spain, when it rains, it really rains. In UK, is what we call in Spain chirimiri. Is that this type of specific type of rain that you can you don't even know it's raining and it's raining.
Yeah, very subtle.
Yeah, I agree.
What is your favorite exercise?
I like to go to the swimming pool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm quite lucky that I live quite nearby the Olympic swimming pool in London. built by Zaha Hadid. So it feels like, it's such a pleasure to be able to go and swim there.
Wow. That was so cool. What was your worst subject in school?
As I mentioned before, anything related with languages, I was really, not the most talented.
What is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal, my family from my grandma's side, they were called the frogs. So I think I identify quite well with a frog. Probably it's not the best animal in one specific terrain, but like an animal can be in the water, a bit jumping in the air and in land. So I think it's quite versatile. So I think I identify myself with that.
Well, they're good at design.
Yeah.
Frog.
Other now owned by Capgemini though. Yeah.
That's true. Well, what do you usually eat for breakfast?
Something quite simple, like some granola and some banana with milk.
Healthy. What do you eat for dinner then?
It really depends. At the moment, I'm living with friends in a shared place, and it's quite lovely that every day one of us cook. So it really depends. Could be French cuisine, it could be Turkish cuisine, it could be Spanish cuisine. So it could be Greek cuisine. So it really depends whose turn is.
Fusion.
Yeah.
Do you do cooking more or baking more?
Cooking, absolutely. Yeah, I like to cook salty things and little tapas, and it's I'm not too into baking.
Wow, sounds really good. What is something that you wish you could be good at?
Something that I could be really, again, coming back to languages, I really admire people who are really really good at communicating. And even in Spanish, I really admire people who are really precise with languages. And I had a conversation not long time ago with a philosopher, and the precision and the way that some people are able to use languages and describe things is something that I will wish I was better at.
Yeah, that's a really admirable skill. Skiing or surfing?
So I have been skiing lately, but I really like surfing, not with a board, but like I like to swim with the waves. So body surfing, some people call it, but like I like to go with fins into the water and enjoy the waves. So that's, that has been really good.
I wish I can surf as well. What's the first time you failed?
Oh, I don't remember, but I suppose I had been failing since day one, depending on how you define failure. But I think it's a continuous improvement, I suppose, in my life for many different things. So many times in every single day.
Yeah, constant iterating.
Yeah, correct.
What's the last time you failed?
Again, I think I can name in the last 5 minutes. You can just go back a few questions, and probably 4 of the 5 questions I have been making mistakes and failures in all of them.
There's no wrong answer.
Probably one of the failures is not to prepare a bit in advance this question, even if you with this interview, even if you send in advance the question. But
I don't know.
You learn from everything.
What color was your prom suit?
Prom suit. I don't know if I'm familiar with prom suit. What do you mean by prom suit?
Like the suit you wear to go to like a school prom.
In Spain we have a school proms. That's the point. But yeah, sometimes we wear suits for special occasions. Normally are quite standard navy colors or grace color, nothing fancy. I really like yellow as a color to wear.
Yellow suit.
Mm-hmm. Not yellow suit, not to that extreme, but maybe if it's in a suit, yellow, the most is the socks and the tie or something like that. But I like yellow in a jacket or in a shirt or in a t-shirt.
You've lost me now. I'm a visual learner, so I'm imagining you in a yellow suit just walking down the street, in the rain in London.
I could try it. Yeah.
Off to the design museum. With a red bus coming past and just a clash of color.
Yeah. The Spanish flag, red and yellow.
One, how do you manage stress?
I suppose by sharing it with other people. So yeah, I'm really lucky to be able to do this startup with a really good friend, with Pierre, and it's a wonderful experience to be able to share good moments and hard moments, basically. And it's how you manage stress.
Yeah, having a good teammate is really important.
Yeah.
So how do you relax too?
I suppose in relaxing, there's as well this social aspect of being able to have a laugh and share it with someone. But at the same time, I think there is quite a lot of, sometimes, at least from my point of view, personal introspection and a bit of reset. So sometimes I relax. It might sound funny, but like cleaning my flat or doing laundry are really mundane activities that set me on the level 0 again, and it's a pretty good way to relax.
I have that hanging out washing. I have to do it. I do one item at a time, and I'll take it from the kitchen, I'll walk out, hang out in the washing line or on the radiator, and then come back, and it'll take me half an hour, but it's quite meditative.
Yeah.
Meditative. Yeah. When is your age that you wanted to become a designer?
I think since quite early on, designer/investor, I always kind of enjoy to create things and make things or take things apart. Or we were speaking before we started to record with Richard about Legos. I really enjoy Legos or any construction toy. So yeah, I think I had been quite early on into creation.
Apart from RCA, where did you study design?
So I started to study architecture, that I don't know if you can argue it's a different type of design, in the Polytechnic in Madrid. Then I studied product design in Universidad Pontificia de Chile in Santiago. I went to CEP University in Ahmedabad. Then I studied design 1 year in Umeå. It's a university in the north of Sweden that is quite well known for one specific type of design, at least. And then, Royal College of Art and Imperial College of London. Those have been a bit my alma maters. And then I had the chance as well to keep my academic career for a while, not as a student, but as a researcher or as a lecturer. And I had been able to, I had been teaching for 7 years in Kingston University, which had been really good. This year I'm teaching in Central St. Martin's, a university in London. And before I did a few teaching as well as a visiting lecture in different universities, mostly in Europe, but as well sometimes in Cornell University in the States. I've been really enjoying that experience and in other parts.
What an exciting journey.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite designer of all time?
I would say Buckminster Fuller. I don't know if it's considered a designer or among all the many different things, but yeah. Or even if you want to come back a bit more even in history, like Leonardo da Vinci is always like really incredible on his thoughts. But yeah, I would say Buckminster Fuller.
Totally agree. What's the best design advice you've ever received?
Best design advice I have ever received. It's hard to say. Probably more than the advice itself is the methodologies and how to approach brainstorming, for example, or ideation. That opened my mind quite a lot. So yeah, and sometimes even the worst advices had been the ones that had motivated me much more. For example, in my first studies in architecture had been super traditional, and they were disencouraging everyone to create or to invent new things, and those things like really fire me up and put me on the other extreme. So sometimes it's even good to have this type of bad advices to spark other type of reactions.
That's the thing with architectural crits. The professors will rip the students apart. It doesn't happen in any other design areas. I do not know why. And I've taught across, like yourself, various designers, and you just sit there going, you're ripping them apart where you're destroying their creativity. Yeah. They're effectively just going to go away and not be a architect anymore. Is it this what happens in architecture practices, or I don't know, or is it's the university professors thinking they're, they've got a chip in their shoulder because they never made it as an architect themselves? I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know where this culture comes from. In Spain, for example, what I know is that the university where I start to study, or where I finish my studies, they start with 5,000 students, and they have to, from those 5,000 students, almost half of them have to be gone in the first year. So it's a quite brutal way of educating or selecting people in a way. So probably they have been driven a bit this culture of, I don't know, instead of encouraging people, trying to push them down. But I don't know. I agree, and it's not to generalize, but yeah.
So on to the next question. Trend you would like to see disappear forever?
Yeah, single-use plastic for this type of applications that didn't last more than a few minutes in the people's hands. So I suppose that would be great to see it disappear forever.
Yeah, totally agree. Mac or PC?
I normally use Macs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do you know if you are a designer?
You have solved a problem, probably you're a designer. Doesn't matter what type of problem it is. And if you want to call yourself a designer, I think you are in your own right. Probably that's as well where architects and designers are a bit different. Normally, to be able to call yourself an architect, you have to pass a specific exam or have a license, but I think everyone could be a designer. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I really like the fluidity in the concept of designer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the television show you've been banged on recently?
Maybe related with design, like the Abstract series of Netflix that has been really good.
Oh, we watched the Neriox one just for Christmas. The screen, the sharing one. Yeah, I just like that. I actually like the one in Typeface. That one's really good. Yeah, I think I need to go and watch them again, actually.
They're pretty good.
I really like the toy design one as well.
The toy design one is my favorite one. Absolutely.
Yeah, because it gets you thinking back to what we were talking about Lego. When Lego first started, it was just about imagination. But now the kits, and she mentioned that show, it's about, with most Lego kits now, you build them and then they're just left. And I noticed that with my children. But if you get the bricks out with no instructions, they just keep playing for hours and hours and hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's emergence of creativity. Who do you turn to when you're sad?
My good friends or my family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Last question. Name one thing you've learned the hard way.
I don't know if it's the hard way, but again, coming back, I'm going to repeat myself, but English or languages. Yeah.
Well, I'm still struggling.
Yeah. But for me, in order for me to learn English, my parents had to drop me in Canada when I was 15 without knowing too much about it. And at the beginning, I had a really hard time. Then it was one of the best times of my life. But yeah, it was the hard way, definitely. And the most useful way.
It's Canada, though. They'll just apologize on your behalf.
Yeah.
Over to Richard.
If you could make a documentary about anything, what would it be?
A documentary about everything.
Or anything.
Maybe some of the favorite designers that I had been looking at or admiring, like coming back on Buckminster Fuller, or I suppose having the time to go a bit deeper on that will be great. Other topics, I suppose, looking into issues or challenges that we have as a society, that will be great. Or going a bit deeper into, philosophy. I'm really intrigued as well by that type of. I don't know how I will approach it because it's not my medium, but yeah, I really love to explore that.
Yeah, having a documentary, Buckminster Fuller in abstract and design, that'd be rather cool. If they could do a retrospective. Anyway, got me thinking. What is your kryptonite?
What is my kryptonite? I would say people in general or life. Like, kryptonite. You mean kryptonite is something that gives you energy, right?
No, the opposite. Takes your energy away.
Sorry. What is my kryptonite? Maybe the lack of people or the lack of interactions. That's probably a bit the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people found that during COVID and in lockdowns.
Yeah.
Fun.
Exactly.
What are you most enchanted by?
I really like things that falls or moves, or I'm really enchanted by those type of objects in particular. Things that transform.
Kinetic architecture, kinetic design. Yeah.
I have been working quite a lot with, before the work that I'm doing now, into foldable structures, for example. Have been always really fascinated by those type of scissor systems. Coming back a bit to Mr. Fule, he has a few. Yeah. Jack Hoberman, I don't know if you know this designer. It's from New York. Yeah. Origami and Muraori, and really enjoy this type of, I think it's quite fascinating, and the attention goes quite into it. But I really like as well magic in a way, and get quite enchanted by magicians as well.
Yeah, what is your biggest strength?
I suppose I'm quite, coming back to the frog, quite comfortable in different type of scenarios, situations. So I'm quite versatile. Probably is my biggest weakness as well. A lot of people during my career, they say like, oh, you have quite a big lack of focus. Probably it's true. But I suppose that's a bit strength and weakness at the same time.
Well, that answers the next question. Your biggest weakness as well.
Yeah, probably. I will say that. Yeah.
Here's a good one. What 3 words? Use 3 words to describe Notpla.
I will say making packaging disappear. That's our mission. Those 3 words.
It's like you prepared for this.
I haven't been prepared for this, but I didn't describe this. But like for many years, I was an improv actor. So I used to do quite a lot of improv. So it's about these other things that we were talking about, embracing mistakes and not being okay with blocking yourself or unblocking yourself with certain questions. But no, I didn't prepare this.
That's good. Anyway, most important thing on planet Earth?
I would say life. I suppose that's the most important thing, because like if it's a death planet, no one will be there. So I suppose if we are able to preserve life, and by life I mean not only human life, but any type of life that is around, I think it's the most essential thing.
Here's a sofa one. What's the most important advice you'd give your future children?
Coming back as well to a previous question, I will say the same thing that my mom told me, of like, try to become a good person. I suppose that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. Best first date idea?
First date idea? I had been single last year, so I had a few first dates. One funny one, I don't know why, she mentioned that she wanted to do a stool, so we spent the day doing a wooden stool. That was quite nice. Nice date.
That's a different one. Well done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you still
seeing
in the workshop? Sorry?
Are you still dating?
Not at the moment. No, I'm taken.
Okay, we'll move on. Right. Favorite type of plant? We've got a selection here.
Favorite type of plants. I really like plants. I have a few plants. I will say I always get fascinated by avocados, avocado pits, and how they grow out of nothing. That's really lovely. Or like the classic cheese plant or monstera is always as well really impressive to see them growing, and the big leaves that they have are always really beautiful.
Yeah, I've got 2 avocado plants here.
Yeah, I can see as well. You have aloe vera there.
Yeah, I know. I've got 4 or 5 of them. I've got 2 pineapple plants I've grown from pineapples I got from the supermarket as well.
Oh, wow. Nice. I love that. Every time you can grow a fruit from something that you get in the supermarket is like, it's the best thing ever. It's like having a present. Imagine you could do that with packaging. We always say, man, if you have a piece of plastic packaging and you can put the tap and a new tree of bottles will grow, that's incredible. And it's not something that we appreciate with fruits, and we should appreciate more, basically.
Yeah, exactly. What do you notice first about someone when you meet them? And you can't just say, are they wearing jeans or chinos?
I suppose how they look, or if they look at you or not. I suppose that's one of the things that you notice quite immediately and tells you quite a lot about that person.
Okay, good. What's your guilty pleasure?
What's my guilty pleasure? I don't know if it's so guilty, but like fruits, having fruits quite often, especially fruits that they are not easy to eat, like pomegranates or things like that. That's one of my pleasures. I don't know how guilty that pleasure is, but and doing it at really weird times, like just before dinner, for example, or things like that.
You could have pomegranate in your dinner. Pomegranate and couscous. Yeah. Pomegranate and couscous salad's really nice. I'm just getting hungry now, so maybe we'll share a recipe for that in the notes. Right, last question. What are your plans for the weekend?
As I mentioned, I just arrived yesterday night to Lisbon. So after today and tomorrow of working a bit remotely, I plan to discover as much as I can the city. I've been here several times, but not recently. So I'm looking forward for that.
Amazing. Yeah. Traveling is just so much fun. Never been to Portugal, actually. Lisbon. Oh, thank you very much. So that's the 73 rapid fire questions, which we got through.
Thank you.
Amazing time. So before we wrap up, let's ask you a couple of questions about Notpla. We've covered little bits about it and understood more about you. So how did you and Pierre come up with the idea for your packaging?
Sure. So I was working on different projects. I was working on making artificial clouds that could get water from the sea, evaporate the water, and being able with water vapor or to create buoyancy and float like big balloons, and being able to deliver that water in places where it's needed. And when I was facing the challenge of how to deliver water, I really wanted to avoid the use of plastic, because I had been really conscious of that problem for a while and doing some projects around it. So I started to experiment with all the type of materials that are not plastic that could encapsulate water or the type of liquids. And I suppose we arrived to seaweed as a first starter, and it kind of started to work after testing quite a lot of different things. And that's a bit how we came up with the idea, and still an idea on his infancy shape, and starting to continue to be improved. But that's how it started.
No, it's really, really good.
Rocks lab.
Sorry?
Why sleeping rocks lab?
Because we, at that point we didn't have the ambition of making a business. And we decided to do this competition last minute. We have to find a name for the company besides for the product. And we were in New Zealand in this trip that I was mentioning before with Pierre and Guillaume, two of my best friends from these masters. And we were in that trip doing a lot of what now we, coming back to languages, now we understand it's not called skipping rocks, it's called skimming stones. So doing a lot of on the lakes, throwing stones to bounce them on the lakes. And at that time as well, lab, it was quite a trendy name for a studio. So we decided to call Skipping Rocks Lab, trying to make packaging disappear and rocks fly. But then we had to change the name. Yeah, why not? And then a funny story as well, like the first couple of years, the website, it was the video of our holidays.
We're actually not doing any work.
Yeah, and then when we start to have employees, some of the in a really nice way, they were started to ask, guys, I think we should change the names. I don't think this is a great name. And so we had to go through a rebranding exercise to call us like Notpla now, which well, I still like Skipping Rocks Lab. Maybe someday come back to that.
Here's a question for you, because we've looked into this a lot regarding biomaterials, and what are the main challenges you managed to overcome when you were developing your seaweed solution?
Well, there's quite a lot of challenges. Like first, I suppose all the materials normally are benchmarked against plastic, and they are different in terms of properties and where they come from and what you can ask. So it's really hard to start with that expectations, I would say, in terms of how a material should perform or should act. So I suppose that's one of the challenges, and I have many aspects, from price to scale to barrier properties to logistics, etc. So it's trying to understand how we can offer alternatives to plastic, but that can be better in certain things. And one is one of the things that we're trying to do, to try to make things that plastic cannot do, like you can eat it, or you can put flavors into it, or smells, or making it disappear in one way or another. But you cannot copy plastic in all the characteristics of plastic, because you will end up with plastic, basically. So it's try to understand which characteristics of it you need to compromise and which one you need to enhance, depending on which applications you want it for.
Exactly. And you're seeing that with, like example being like Australia banning, bioplastics supply chain, because it's effectively just another plastic, and it's not getting sorted into either industrial level composting or into, it's getting taken away to be burned. So it just messes up all the systems around. Here's an interesting question. And I remember you remember that grape inspired packaging solution? It was a number of years ago, coming from MIT. The one where they put flavors on the outside, and they were designed to basically serve like ice creams and sauces, and the issues they found. And then when they started selling them through supermarkets and whole food suppliers, they ended up, even though they were meant to take away packaging, the suppliers were selling them in plastic bags. So how do you get away from having packaging inside packaging?
Good question as well. So it really depends. At the moment, we are conscious that our packaging is not for all the uses. So it's not, or we don't have any product at the moment that is capable of resisting a 2-year supply chain and being the shelf of a supermarket. So we try to avoid that. But we have a solution that could work quite well for short time consumption and low volumes. So we're trying to focus on replacing plastic on those type of occasions. For example, running events or festivals or things like that. So in that way, we transport things in a really similar way as fruits are transported. So we have sometimes secondary crates, where we have like a few hundreds of these, and then we handle to the runners. Depending on what type of product or what type of application or context, again, we come back to biomimicry and understand how fruits as well do that. And sometimes we make peelable layers, for example, or sometimes we play as well with segments similar to an orange, where you can open it and you have a small segment. So we can do a bit the same, of having a secondary layer that you can eat or you cannot eat, that protects internal layers. So that's a bit how we try to approach.
I suppose other things you could start looking at there is actually, yes, we use plastic to transport it, but it could be something that's been recycled, that it's not going to a large container that will always get used and used. I mean, I get my food from Good Club, and it's zero waste delivery, zero carbon deliveries, and but it still comes in plastic, and then you take it out of that. So, because as we all know, plastic is a nice material. It's just we've not found a way to keep it in the intended use. And it's back to that single use of a straw or a cup, or like you mentioned, festivals of people just taking a drink. It's been in use for 30 seconds. It's had a dormancy life of, months or years sitting on a shelf to actually be useful for 30 seconds.
Correct. I think plastic as a material is incredible, how we have been able to move as a society in almost 100 years from crude oil, basically, or petroleum, to something that we use everywhere to package water, to package and to be really lightweight, to be able to protect food so well. But at the same time, yeah, it's a big issue when we don't use it in the right way. And again, trying to put in perspective our own material or Notpla itself is not the only solution, or is not the solution that could somehow contribute to solving the whole problem. We always think as well that is not our thinking, but like I think it's shared among a lot of people, that first reducing the amount of packaging, that is the first step. Reusing, so if you can reuse a container, you should. And then for those things when you need either to recycle or to compost, is where we can start to see if there is a alternative. But yeah, so that's why we are focusing on this at the moment: low consumption moments and short consumption moments and low volume. Sorry.
That's good. Great. So the last question for you is, where do you see Notpla in 5 years?
So we're working quite a lot with having a portfolio of different products. So we're working, besides Ooho, quite a lot now on coatings, on cardboard boxes. We're making films to package dry goods. We are starting to make hard materials. We're making now seaweed paper. So hopefully we see us having a portfolio of different solutions that hopefully by then, in 5 years' time, they will be having significant impact, because I think until now we have created these solutions and make around, 500,000 units of each of them, but that's not enough impact for us. So hopefully we are now in 5 years' time on the I don't know if to say billions, but of plastic items replace it. That will be really good. And being a bit like sometimes we like to fantasize, like saying like the sustainable Tetra Pak. And try to do things with conscious of not only of the product that we package, but of our context and planet and oceans. So that's a bit where I would love to see Notpla in 5 years' time.
That's a beautiful vision.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you very much for your time, Rodrigo. This has been Richard and Yuning for the Food Innovation Podcast. And if you want more information on Notpla, we will share that in the show notes and the links afterwards. I'd just like to thank Rodrigo for enduring the 73 questions and answering our questions as well. We will share all the links to Notpla and various other initiatives in the show notes. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. This has been Richard and Yuning. Good afternoon. Bye.